Alice ASMR. So today, I'm just gonna be having some soup with some rice, chicken soup from a can with some rice. Now, and some water, and I also got some coffee here. There's my water. Got it flavored with that some kind of old lime, something or other. I don't know, some kind of like green flavoring. I forget what it's called. And I got my coffee right here. So, first order of business is I'm gonna just let you guys know. So I have a Discord, obviously, but if you join the Discord, if you want, I'll be chatting in there and everything, and you know, everyone has a good time. Talk about everything anime and I'm gaming, all that stuff. But I am gonna start doing live streams on my other channel, like my Twitch or whatever, which isn't under this name. It's under Lakota, but it has 2 L's because someone stole my name. I'll put it in the description and in the comments if you want to go follow it. But I'm going to start, streaming there. But it's like, more gaming stuff, nothing ASMR. So if you want to go ahead and give that a follow, I'd recommend, please do that. Also, thank you for all the, new followers and everything. The support growth has been pretty good. But in this video, I'm just going to talk about the last video I made. And I'm going to just I was receiving some of the comments from that. I posted a few days ago. Receiving some of the comments from that video. And I just want to kind of go over it because I think some things were missed, or maybe I can re-explain better what I meant in that video. Oh well. I can better explain it because if you haven't seen it, my last video was a movie review. And I went over. It was this movie called Mr. Nobody. Now, I didn't review the movie too heavily because I was using the concept to use it to bring a story from my past and use that as a springboard to talk about some of the themes in the movie. But in good old RLS fashion, Orion fashion, I was gonna ramble about it. And so basically, the point of the ramble was so that I was talking about how in Mr. Nobody, there's these concepts, the concept of choice, and what's the right choice, the wrong choice, what can happen if you make a good decision, a bad decision, what kind of like butterfly effect. And it's all because an old man is looking back on his life, and he's about to die, and like what could have been, you know what I mean? And I was using that to talk about basically how like growing up and just in general, and it wasn't to do with the religion part that I brought up, but I was basically like, yeah, so in my personal life, I felt like, okay, if I make a certain decision, sometimes I'm stun locked because I don't realize, like, okay, if I go this way, this could be the fallout. If I go this way, this could be the fallout. And I believe, I'm starting to think about, like, I don't express myself as well as I should because I'm always worried about what the fallout is. And it kind of goes hand in hand with the Mr. Nobody concept where, in the movie, he's talking, he just goes through a bunch of scenarios and it's very schizophrenic. So that's that's where I was kind of trying to go with the conversation. Now, what I used to talk about this was that spilling food everywhere. As I'm an atheist, like I don't believe in God right now, but I was raised Christian, and like I wasn't necessarily saying about, okay, well, I couldn't ask these questions about God. I mean, there's a lot of stuff about my past that I don't necessarily get into because it's not super relevant, but it could explain a couple things. But I'm also not trying to put, like, family members on blast because, like, I grew up well. I grew up really well. Like, I love my parents and everything. But there was always just, I'm dealing with now. I'm trying to relive and talk about how, like, I didn't really feel like I could express much. So what happened is when I started, going through that phase of, like, deconstructing and then completely getting out of religion altogether, I was like trying to figure out how to talk about it because I can, I know my mom and I know my dad pretty well. Back then, when you're like a young 13, 14-year-old kid, or at least when you're a boy, I think. I don't know what it's like from a girl perspective, but at least from a young man, you see your dad as an authority figure, as a disciplinarian. It's not really until at least for me, it wasn't really until an adult that you become, like, more friendly with your parents. You have moments, you have your father-son thing that you do. But when it comes to expressing how you feel about something, you're not always sure. Well, at least for me, I'm not going to speak for everybody. I wasn't always sure how to bring something up. Because I wanted to talk about it, but I never wanted it to become like a super big discussion that became like a super big deal. I wanted it to be more of like a casual thing of, well, I don't understand these things. Can we have a discussion about it? And so in trying to avoid that potential thing, I basically caused it, which is kind of like, how certain choices can build up and whatnot. But the point of my last video, and I got a few people in my comments who were like obvious Christians, and some of you sympathize, some of you I think just kind of proselytize to me, which I don't really care for. Because the point of that was saying, like, here are these things that I'm dealing with, and here's some other thing, here's how this can connect to this. And I was just going to try and talk about it, generally speaking, but I understand that people get pretty centered and grounded in their views about religion, and there's no room for budget. But I only brought that up to say that, like, I think I've said that like 3 times, but what was ironic about it was that in a discussion, or, I'm talking to you guys, I hear you guys talk back in the comments, but it's funny how when I'm trying to talk to you guys about, like, and I'm not trying to, like, chastise all of you or anything like that. There's no ill will. It's just, I'm just, my channel, just trying to talk about it, and it's kind of, like, funny to me. But in a video where I'm like, hey, here's some things I'm dealing with, I'm trying to whisper about, like, life, and, like, here's how I feel like I'm not heard in certain instances, or, like, I can't express myself because I'm like, the intended result won't be what it is. Like, I'm always worried about the result of the fallout, or, like, it's not gonna, I express this, is it gonna have the desired result that I want? And it normally doesn't. That's pretty much what happened. I don't know, more people will comment, probably. For those of you who commented with support, I appreciate that. And for those of you who, like, try to get me to become Christian, I respectfully decline. But that was just like the point. It wasn't the point of the video. So I'm not saying that to be like mean and nasty and spiteful, but moving off of that, I haven't watched any new anime. I'm caught up on Tower of God, and there's a couple of them that you guys have said to go for because, or either of you guys, or I've been recommended in general. I've been recommended Go Loser Ranger by a fair amount of people. I don't know how much of you have seen Tower of God, or if you care, but what's interesting, at least I'll give a brief breakdown of it, because I haven't done an anime video in a minute. I don't think. I think the last one I did was my Konosuba, my full breakdown of Konosuba, and I believe that was my Dunkin' Donuts video. I think that's the last time I talked about anime, but you know, gotta make my fellow weeaboos and otakus happy, okay? But excuse me. So with Tower of God, the basic concept is that I guess they're all floating on a tower in the sky, or there's just a tower. But so there's a tower, and at the top of the tower, any wish you want will be granted. I forget how many floors there are on the tower, but it's an insane amount of floors, like 100 floors or something. And you have to get to the top of the tower to get your wish. Now, it's one of those, stories where, like, you have to climb the tower, and each individual floor, there's going to be, like, a test. There's going to be test directors, test administrators, and they're all trying to, everyone has their own motivations for why they want to get to the top. And so you find out about this guy. His name's Bam. Apparently, for whatever reason, he's found in a cave by this woman named Rachel. Well, woman, they're like kids. By this girl named Rachel. And the whole shtick is that she wants to get to the top to see the stars, and then he wants to get to the top of the tower. She leaves him to go climb the tower, and then he begins to climb the tower, because all he wants to do is he knows she's going to be at the top of the tower, so he wants to climb the tower to meet her. Kind of like one of those love stories or whatever. Now, what's interesting about it? They have here. Hold on. Oh shoot! Hope that's not too loud. Okay, so that way I don't have to lean down as far. But basically, so what's interesting about it is I like the side characters. Not because Bam doesn't really know how to use this, so they call this thing, is it called Shinsu or Shishu? Shinsu or Shisu. Basically, it's like chakra from Naruto, or, chi energy from Dragon Ball Z. It's basically the energy that they use to do the abilities that they have. And so, yes, they have to learn how to channel that to climb the tower and all that kind of stuff. And, I like the side characters, and I'm not going to explain too much in case you want to watch it, but let me know your thoughts on it. And, so, what I like about it, at least season 1, the art style's unique. It's a little different. It kind of looks like it was drawn with Sharpie, but in a good way. I don't know how to explain it otherwise. But it was kind of like drawn with Sharpie, I guess. They have really thick lines on the outlines of the characters' heads and stuff. big features. Not, it sounds cartoony the way I'm describing it, but it's cartoony, but in an anime way. For those of you that say that for those of you that say that anime is a cartoon, I hope your pillow is warm on the underside and on the top. I hope you don't get to the cool side of the pillow. But I hope you step on Legos. Anyways, so barefoot. The anime progresses. They end up doing that, stereotypical bond. Like, okay, like two male characters will bond, and they'll like have like a friendly, like kind of like a friendship. Some other stuff happens. Like, I'm trying not to spoil it. I'm trying to go through and get my review without spoiling. And as you get to the end of the series, there's some interesting stuff or the end of the first season, there's some interesting stuff that happens. Now, what's interesting about season 2 is, at least, I think they might still be releasing episodes on it because there's only like 4 episodes out or whatever. But they changed the art style in season 2 to a more modern anime art style. The thinner drawn lines, higher quality, animation. But what's interesting is how they're going forward, because of some stuff that happens. And if you've, seen the show, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like we see that, how do you do this without spoiling? As we move on into season 2, there's a new character that gets introduced, new characters in general. The old characters are still in the new season. And then how they're trying to progress into the towers, there's a different strategy for reasons that are at the end of season 1. And I don't know, I find it interesting, but I don't know how to feel about it quite yet, because I feel like the same themes that were in the first season that made it really good, I feel like those are gone now. And then they've completely shifted the tone of the show from now. Season 2 is very much showing the fruits of the labor of season 1, where there's more power. There's a powerful, the questions you had, they're still there, but like, okay, the MC is more powerful. He can do more stuff. There's like, we missed the training sequence, which I guess for an anime like this, it makes sense. Why would there be a training sequence? But I love a good training sequence as long as it's not too long, like a good training arc. That's why I like solo leveling. Specifically because I think that the trainings, well, not specifically, but in addition to everything else I like about it, the training happens as the anime progresses. So there's not like a real training arc per se. There's more of just like, there's exposition while there's training, and then he learns things and keeps going. Like, I love stories where you have a weak MC that gets better over time. That's like a solo leveling thing, kind of Tower of God, but not really. He just didn't realize how broken he was, and he had to be trained to realize how broken he was, because he doesn't have any of his memories. At least that's what the anime is giving off. That could be a major spoiler, but it's not really. But anyways, that could have been a spoiler. I don't know. Oopsie. But there's a lot of animes where it's like the character starts out really, really, really weak, and then they have to, and that's another anime I'm watching right now, is Failure Frame. Now, it's called like Failure Frame and has a long name that basically says like, I annihilated everyone with low level spells or whatever, right? And from what I can tell, it's a good anime. I've only seen a few episodes, but from what I can tell, it's a good anime. It's just from what I can tell, it's a good anime, but it's like I haven't watched enough of it to really tell like what I could do or don't like about it. But where I'm at in the show for Failure Frame, it's basically about this guy who he's a part of this. I guess his classmates are going on some kind of trip. Like him and his classmates. I forget what the exposition is, but they're going on some kind of trip in a bus. And they all get coffee time. But they all get mystically transported to some kind of world. This like fantasy world. It's an isekai, right? So they get mystically transported to this other world where the students and everyone involved, like they all have to basically help to save this other world. The goddess transported them there. The goddess transported them there, and they have to like help save the world, but their world basically. So they all go up to this orb where they're trying to judge, like, okay, how much strength do you have? Like, what class rank are you? That, your magical ability. And so everyone puts their thing up to the orb, and like, there's so many S classes and A classes. Which, if you're unaware, and you don't watch anime, if there's like or you don't play video games, I think even video games do this, where there's like S rank is like the top rank, and then it goes in alphabetical order from like A to C or A to Z if you're British or Australian. But they'll say so it'll be like S rank, A, B, C, D, E, and then typically the lowest rank you could ever be is like an E rank. In some anime they sometimes say F rank. I don't know why. But this so the guy, the main MC, he goes his hand up to the orb, and then they just wish him away immediately. And then he's like, so he's like, what rank did I get? What rank am I? And he's an E rank. And apparently with all of the people that they want to dispose of, he gets sent off to the ruins of disposal, where he becomes where he's just basically, that's the kill cave. That's where everyone goes that you don't want to deal with them, so you put them in the kill cave basically. And there's a bunch of monsters there, and the reason why he's so weak is that he has status ailment abilities. If you don't play video games or don't watch anime, basically, like, he can cause a target to be paralyzed or sleep or have poison or something like that. But even in video games, those aren't like the most powerful, depending on the game you play, those aren't like the most powerful effects. Those are typically like what's called like crowd control effects. And they're not like the most powerful, but it's necessary. It's a necessary part of like a team or whatever. But that's all he has. And so, because that's all he has to use, but he, with his unrelenting, with his unrelenting will that he will live, he then grinds his skill, and he gets omega strong for a status ailment person. And that's about where I left off, is that everyone else is apparently at like level 18, and he's or the highest level of, because the other group that he got separated from, it cuts to them and he's like, I'm already level 18, this is great. And then he opens up his thing where it shows his level abilities, and it shows that he's like level 1,700 and something. So I don't know. I'm liking it so far. I'm not expecting too much from it. It's gonna be one of those. I'm assuming it's gonna be okay. So there's this concept that I've developed, and I don't know if you guys have heard it from somebody else, or maybe I'm the first person you've heard it from. So there's like media, and this is not something new. I probably got it from somewhere. So don't hate me if this is something that someone else said and I just don't forget or I don't remember. But there's there's a type of media that you'll watch. You don't think it's that great. because you think it's like an amazing piece of media, like movies, TV shows, books, or whatever. You're thinking that it's like it's the thing that you get in between before you really want the thing. So what I've devised that as, you could call it appetizer now that I'm thinking about it, but I think it's called junk food. Like there's junk food movies, there's junk food like TV shows, and there's junk food anime. Anyone like, and if anyone tells you different, they don't watch enough or they're lying. So the junk, this is kind of like a junk, it feels to me like a junk food anime. Like it's something quick, you can enjoy it, you're satisfied for what you have right now, but you want to taste like something really good later on. Like fast food tastes really good and it satisfies you, but you know that like fast food hunger you get like 4 hours later, where like you ate a burger and fries, you're full for like 3 hours, but then you really just want some, you're hankering for like a real meal. You want to eat like some steak or some rice or something like that. Steak and rice, chicken, noodles. You want something real, like to stick to your stomach. That's what I would classify as like a junk food show, anime, or movie. And I have all of those. The reason I love Transformers movies, so at least the first two, the other ones can get fucked out after the third one. The third one is where I say I'm about 50-50, I'm about mushy-washy on it, because the really good thing about the third one is like the first hour and a half has you locked in, and you're like, wow, this is a really good show, a really good movie. But then the last 30 to 40 minutes, you're just kind of sitting there like, what's going on? You know, it's not like it's bad, but there's this like huge lull between like when the main exposition happens, and then when the climax is like the main exposition, then there's a climax, and then there's always that latter part of the movie where you're kind of like seeing everything resolve. That part of the movie is just way too long for Dark of the Moon, and I think that's just my opinion. I've watched other people's videos talking about it, and they're like, yeah, that's kind of how they feel, so I don't know. But my favorite two Transformers are definitely the first and the second one. But yeah, so that's essentially that's that concept. And this anime, it very much so feels like that. It feels like a Failure Frame and Tower of God. Tower of God is a little bit higher than junk food, but it's like, it's about in that same realm. You don't have to think about it too hard. You don't really care about like putting the story elements all together, because they food speed you. They spoon feed you. I don't know why that broke in my head. They spoon feed you the exposition and the plot lines, and it's not like it's predictable, but it's not like you're surprised either. You're just kind of sitting there like enjoying it, but you're not actually, super like mega engaged or whatever. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, I'll be streaming on Twitch more. If you want to give me some support on there, I want to start doing, this is something I've been thinking about, I've been really wanting to do. I think I'm going to start doing some like just anime streams, going on there and talking about anime, hopping there and just chatting and just talk about like, I need to get more knowledgeable, because there are weebs out there. And what could be cool about the Discord is I could create a new Discord if it gets big enough, but at least for now, I think if you're in my Discord and I'm like live streaming and talking about anime and whatever else, you could come in the Discord and we could chat about it, and then that would be pretty cool stream content as well. But definitely either leave me a message in the comment section or join my Discord and shoot me a message and let me know if you'd be down for something like that. But it's not definite, but that's like an idea I'm floating around. If there's enough interest for it, if I build like enough of an audience, then I think that'd be something that'd be worth doing. And I've clearly attracted enough people that like to watch me at least talk about anime that I think it'd be interesting. It could be something I even could just do on this channel and not move it to another channel. But the thing about this ASMR is I feel like most people, overwhelming majority of you obviously, are here for ASMR, and so that's kind of like I want to create for you guys, and I don't want to just, spurg off into multiple different directions, but it would be interesting. I do want to like venture into something else, and build something else, because I've been yearning for some creativity to get expunged, and that's where I feel like I could do it, or I like the having an audience, having people to chat to and talk to, and explain my thoughts. I really enjoy that. So ASMR, I mean, at least creating these videos have given me a good platform to, learn about the algorithm. At the very least, I've learned about the algorithm. I've learned what works and what doesn't work. And when you fit into a niche, YouTube punishes you for going outside that niche, even your sub niche. But I don't have to get into that. It's already a 30-minute long video, so I would really want to make my videos at least 30 minutes long. Because the videos, when I make a video that's only like 25 minutes long or 20, doesn't get pushed as hard. It takes a while for it to ramp up. But if I make a video that's really like, really good, and I basically, if I make a video that's really good, but then also I make it really long, there's more average watch time. YouTube promotes it and pushes it more, and then coincidentally, like, I get paid better from it. So that's kind of where I'm going with that. But yeah, guys, so thank you so much for being subscribed. All you new people here, thank you so much for subscribing. And as for the talk earlier, I just want to reiterate that that's not for spite, and I'm not saying that in any sort of mean and hateful way, but just my perspective from it. My perspective, I think, is just what I was really trying to get across there, and I find some of that a little bit silly, because it's just, I feel like the point was missed. So hopefully I reiterated that, and you all